What is really happening to classical dressage in our horse world? Right after this. Hello fellow Christians, how you doing guys? I'm Nolan M Cruz and I'm here to make your life just a bit better. So here we go. So, we're getting on this a lot lately, which is kind of a war in the dressage world. And it's the classical riders against the competitive riders. And people are kind of they're kind of butting heads because one side believes this is how it should be and one side believes it should be like that. It's a very interesting topic. And it's something that is kind of close to my heart. I mean, I'll let you guys know that back in the day, many years ago, I was a competitive rider. The one that just did anything to get the good show riding marks. I show rode every day, and honestly, I hated it. You start to lose a connection with your partner, and you start to make bad habits and make bad decisions, especially when they're caught on cutting corners and stuff like that. What I mean by this is, like, I'll just take an example. There's this one group I'm in on Facebook that we communicate on, obviously. And they brought up the new in thing for dressage is always flex the pole, flex the pole, flex the pole. And please note, it does work on certain things, but to use that as a scapegoat for everything, that's the reason we do everything. You start to lose what training is. And then we get into the gadgets, and then we get into just certain training theories and training procedures, and you kind of go, what is happening to our dressage? What is happening to the classical side of dressage where it takes a certain amount of time to build up to the top level? Classical mindset of dressage has long been tossed away, and this new mindset of competition has indeed replaced it. I mean, if you were to look back 30 years ago, there's always been trainers versus riders. But now it's almost been taken over quite a bit by the rider side. And the trainers, classical trainers, have kind of been pushed out of the way. They're so far and few between these days, and it's actually kind of sad. And this is where now dressage is kind of taking a veer, in my opinion, not for a good way. The part that kind of bugs me the most about it is that the amateurs and like newcomers into the sport and all that, or people who kind of don't really know the ins and outs of our world, like the dressage world, they eat it up. They eat it up so bad. Like, just because this person has done A, B, and C, and they're, you know, they're classified as the most amazing rider or the most, you know, successful or whatever, people kind of start to eat it up. Like, take this for an example. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for influencers to say, to have the horse compete the best it can, we need to have them doing Grand Prix by the time they are 10, 9, sometimes even 8 years old. I'm sorry, how many years ago that wouldn't even be in the equation? Because 8 years old? Really? How many horses, how many warm bloods are not even finished growing until then? But when this is said by these influencers, now it's the amateurs don't see it any other way. They think that's it, that's what I have to do. Because if I'm going to be the amateur and I'm going to be, you know, I want to take my horse up the levels, I want to get to the top, that means I now have to have them in the ring Grand Prix by the time they're 8, 9, 10 years old. Is that not kind of the opposite of what classical training is? It should always be about when the horse gets it, it gets it. You know, you just keep building and building until you have something amazing. But now we have stripped that away, and now we're saying, hey, we have now put you on a clock. Well, now that puts on more stress, we have more pressure, and we have a time limit. Who the hell thought to put a time limit on something like this? I mean, dressage is hard to do in the best of days. Now let's add some more stress to it. This is where I find that the gadgety part comes into it, and horses that have problems when they shouldn't have problems, when this all starts to get thrown into the mix. Amateurs start to cut corners, because now the pressure is on. Crap, I should be doing that. Okay, 6 years old already. Why am I only doing level 1? I gotta go! So then they start cutting corners. So then they start forcing horses to do things, and then let's not even talk about muscle building. To get that, like, it takes how many years to, you know, just 1 year from a horse that doesn't have a top line to build a top line. That's just for that. We haven't talked about stifles, we haven't talked about hocks, we haven't talked about anything. We haven't talked about ass muscles. We have, not even talking about self-carriage. We haven't even added that into the equation. We are simply talking about, to build a top line, we're talking about a year. And as I say, this is the complete opposite of what classical dressage is about. We're supposed to take our time. There's a reason why back how many years ago, you didn't see a Grand Prix horse that was younger than like 14. You actually saw them here and there, but it wasn't such a staple in the dressage world. It wasn't such a staple in the sport to say, oh, well, my horse is, 10 years old and he's doing Grand Prix, he's the best he can do. But you have a whole bunch of other problems. And the problem about that is, I always go for the amateurs because we're the ones following suit. When we start rushing the training, we actually start screwing ourselves royally. And by that, I mean, you know what, we're on a time limit, let's go. And now we have all these obstacles. And please note, obstacles in training is a thing. That is a normal thing with training. You're going to come up against obstacles. But now, instead of going, okay, we're not going to make a big deal out of it. We're going to build upon our little stones and make a good foundation, blah, blah, blah. We have to cut that all out because, shit, we are running behind. Well, I'll just cut some corners here, cut some corners there, and we'll make it happen. Well, you know what? By the time he's 9 years old, hey, we made it to Grand Prix. The horse is broken to hell, but that's fine. We made it. A perfect example of this is the lower levels of dressage. People, especially amateurs that I know, are so sick and tired of doing the counter canter, of doing, leg yields. They're tired of the half passes and the travers and the renvers, and they're so sick of it. All they want to do, I want to do a pirouette. I want to do a half pass. I want to do a zigzag. I want to do changes. I want to do tempes. That's all they care about. What they do is they skip ahead. They say, okay, well, I'm done on level 2. I'm done. And they've gone up to, level 3, level 4, pre-St. George. But what they don't realize is that turn on the haunches, those 10-meter circles, that counter canter, that leg yield, that shoulder in, that renvers, travers, all those little things that people take for granted. Those little movements are but cornerstones of how to make the top movements so much better. Like those big movements that you go ooh and all about, they're built from these little things on this path, on this system that you follow to get up there. They aren't there just to dick around and waste your time. Those leg yields are going to save you down the road. Those travers and renvers is going to help you with those pirouettes, those 10-meter circles. Think about this for 10 seconds. You have the 20-meter circle in walk-trot training level. At level 1, you hit it to a 15-meter circle. Level 2, level 3, you go to a 10-meter circle. Level 4, you start on the half pirouette. And after that, you start working on the pirouette. That's all your little stepping stones, all the little stones to get you to that big pirouette. But people don't see that. People just see that, I just feel like I'm wasting my time down here and we're doing this damn thing over and over and over again. But really, it takes you up the rank that way. But it's screwed over, it's tossed away, who cares? We need to get our horse up there by the time it's 8, 9, 10 years old. In a future video, I will talk about why I think people do this, other than the influencers and blah, blah, blah. Why I really think it really starts to work or really happens. I'll talk about that in a different video. But right now, I don't mean to, discourage you or say that you're doing it wrong or anything like that. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. This is something that actually does bother me now because being a competition rider at one point, I almost kind of hate myself because I fell into this trap. And when you go that route and you come back to the classical side of things and realize, wow, I just screwed myself royally, it's not a nice feeling. And I hope that other people can see that before they are too far deep into it. This is just my 2 cents worth, just a nice little rant on my part, whatever. I hope you enjoyed it. If you, in the comment section, let me know what you think. This is, as I say, this is a battle between the classical and the competitive side of dressage right now, and everyone's kind of butting heads. In the comments down below, let me hear your side. What are your thoughts? Am I over the top? Yes. But am I speaking on my own ass, or am I onto something? And what is your 2 cents worth? Let's hear it down below. And if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links are in the description below. I do follow back horsey accounts. And while you're at that, why not hit that like button, hit that share button, and while you're at that, hit that subscribe button too. I do have new videos up every single week just for your entertainment and to help you through this time. I'm Nolan M Cruz, and I'll talk to you later. Ciao!